take off.
I never thought of myself as a business.
You're 100% a business owner. Like, you absolutely are,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I feel you.
I mean, especially when you, like, you are your brand, you know, and like, you have figured out a way to, I mean, really monetize that in a really cool and unique way. That's rare, you know? Part of this is actually the idea is to talk with people who are starting or have started their own businesses.
Got you.
And aren't coming from like a great position of like power or resources, you know, like, because like anyone can fucking get daddy's money and start a fucking real estate firm, like fucking whatever, you know, like that doesn't take talent, you know,
play and play.
You know, and so I think people that take their passion and like turn that into something tangible, that's the highest form of work in my regard, you know, like truly.
And so, honestly, even to your point, bro, like, you said the position you're in. I mean, for the most part, like, as a personal trainer, you know, there are people who want to be in the gym, maybe, like, doing a lot of clients, and maybe their, like, end goal is, instead of being paid $70, you know, per hour per session, I'm going to get to $150 one day, and, like, I'm going to be cool with that. Yeah. And that's great, but I've realized that, like, that's definitely not for me. 100%. I think it's a piece. I think I still like working with, like, if I had to be really picky, like, just basketball athletes. Totally. You know what I'm saying?
So we're going to touch on that big time.
Okay,
big time.
Cool. And, but sorry not to get too far off track, but like you get to a point sometimes where you're sitting down and you're reflecting, you're like, okay, like what is like my end goal? Like, is my end goal driving up the price to like $300 a session? Like, no, I don't really want to do that and be like really inaccessible. Totally. So to what you just told me, bro, like my goal is to eventually, and it's slowly happening, I think everything's kind of pushing in that direction, is to get to the ability where like I don't necessarily need my own gym or more clients, but like if I can go and consult and be able to basically just be of service to other communities.
When you're an expert, and people say, okay, cool, this is the person we go to for this service, you know, and it doesn't have to be for everybody, you know. No one's going to call me and be like, hey, we're looking to start a burger chain. You're our guy. I'm totally not their guy. You know what I mean? Not your niche. No, it's not. You know, but I have made enough areas of this business places where I can excel at, right? And you're very much the same way, you know? I mean, it like, I think getting to basketball, right? There is, you know, that, I mean, obviously we met at Lulu, we met at the Huddle. What was that, 2 years ago now?
That was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. God, it's been a fast 2 years, right? It's been a fast 2 years. And then, you know, I've just followed you from there, and it's really been interesting to see, I think, how, you know, you are really kind of in some ways like a counterculture to a lot of gym culture. You know, like the whole like be stronger, lift heavier, like bigger and badder. You know, that is I mean, the predominant like prevailing thing when you're talking about like how to train, both just for the sake of training or if you're training aesthetically or like, I mean, CrossFit, like the shit I do, like I'm super guilty of not doing 3/4 of the shit that you would tell me to do. You know what I mean? Like, and my body tells me that, you know what I mean? Like it for sure tells me that. And that's really interesting to me because I think the relationship between that and how it's now being valued at like the pro athlete level, you know, is really, really, really cool. You know,
it's very interesting, bro. Like if you think about it, like you said, the culture, right, and especially like Western society, like we pull a lot from like the Arnold days still. Like a lot of us are still, which is like fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's one perspective, one context of how you can get a job done, right? And but it's
not making you a better basketball player. Like that. That is like actually certain. You know,
100%. 100%. Like I could, you know, see someone making the argument of maybe a phase.
Sure.
Maybe at some point in the off season. Sure. You
just to put some weight on it.
100%. 100%. Yeah. But like, as far as like, as we get closer and closer to like human performance, no. And, you know, the one of the main reasons why I wanted to call, you know, my brand the Durable Athlete, right, is that regardless if you are a professional athlete or an everyday, you know, 9-to-5 athlete, we are all expected to perform, right? And granted, a basketball player, right, or any athlete's performance is different than somebody who needs to go into a work 9-to-5 job, right? Whether it be traveling or whatever the heck it may be. Ultimately, though, what comes with that is like the ability to move freely and feel, like I say, feel free, but like not feel tight, not feel like something gives you pain, not feel like you're inhibited in any type of fashion, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that is like the biggest deal of like, hey, let's move better and let's feel better.
Yeah.
If we can do those two things, and like those are two things that are gonna be again less inhibiting to what you have to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really interesting perspective, and I think is like so logical, and yet so rarely practiced by people. You know,
yes.
What do you attribute that to?
I think fitness and health. Like the context and the understanding of like what health and fitness means to you, I think is so different, right? Like so a lot of us have our different perspectives, but like,
I mean, vanity has a lot to do with that. You know, like you can feel great, but like people want to look great.
People want to look good. Yeah. Like that's like the predominant thing. Like even with athletes that I've worked with, like. Part of the program at the end, hey, we don't do any arms, hey, could we do some abs? Like,
no doubt.
Like, where is that coming from? Like, they're not saying, hey, let's do some side planks. They're saying, hey, let's do some crunches until I can't feel my stomach. Like,
totally.
Which is, again, like, cool. I'm not bashing it whatsoever. I'm observant of it. But I think, honestly, just like anything else, maybe a lack of exposure and a lack of, like, education. Yeah. Right? Which is, like, I think is at the stem of what myself and my significant other Natalie have, which is like one, she was a teacher at Westlake. That's what she did for about 4 years, right? Yeah. And then for me, I feel like I grew up around my father being like a coach and always kind of trying to like steer people in the right direction. And so I think there's like this deep passion for both of us to educate and like actually be a coach. Someone is going to help you, guide you, and not necessarily create a cookie cutter program or create something that like vast majority of people can
it's access. For you essentially
100%.
So how did you get into sports at a young age?
I think that sense of like community was like the biggest thing, right? Like having friends, having something you could surround yourself with. I'm very competitive, right? I think it's just like like a competitive nature of it. And yeah, man, again, I think I told my girlfriend this the other day, like there's nothing like being on a basketball court.
Nah, man, there really isn't.
Like, even if it was just me and there was nobody else on the basketball court, 100%. There's still something so soothing. And it's maybe some of my past, like maybe that's where when I was a kid, I worked my ass off, like literally on the court every single day. And if it wasn't on the court at the gym, it was definitely at my house on the court. And like those were like the times of solitude for me. That's where like I would get away. Yeah, it's therapy. You know what I mean?
I mean, the beautiful thing about basketball is that you can take a ball and find a hoop anywhere in the the Yeah. And that's all you need. I mean, if you want to run 5s or 3s or whatever, cool. Right. But at the end of the day, all you need is a ball and a hoop. Yep. You know, and it travels better than any other sport because of that. You know,
100%. I agree.
Yeah, that holds true for me too. I remember a lot of times in my kind of early teen years when fucking life was rough at home and shit, and I'd go out and find a hoop and you know and come home after dark, and that was the solution to a lot of problems. You know,
100%.
It really is. That's cool. Where'd you grow up?
Salinas, California.
Yeah. Okay, that explains the Laker fandom.
Yes. I mean, it's funny too because a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're like a Bay Area fan." Not necessarily. So my dad grew up in LA, right? And his family was originally from Mexico, but he grew up in LA.
What part of Mexico?
Ooh, man. My grandma's side, so my dad's side, I want to say is from, Jalisco. Okay. I could be wrong. Yeah. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope my grandma doesn't really understand too much English, so hopefully she's not listening right now. She won't take offense. But
for sure.
I want to say somewhere near Jalisco. But yeah, he grew up, Dodger, Ram, Lakers, like that's what
I mean, I mean, look, the Warriors are really popular now, but before now and after now, California is always going to be a Laker state.
100%.
Like that's real. 100%. Just like New York's a Yankee state. Yep. It's like those are the two sports teams of America. I guess them and the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and it's funny, all the Clipper fans out there.
You're so hyped.
You're so hyped, which is good. Like
like good for you guys.
Good for you guys. You can win. You finally got more in a row for some reason. In some way that happens, it's still going to be.
It's still going to be a Laker town. Yeah, it's so funny, man. That is so deeply ingrained in Los Angeles. I mean, to the point where pop culture and Hollywood culture and Laker culture are like the same thing.
It's crazy,
and it's been that way for like 40 years.
Yeah, it's nuts, bro. I can only imagine being an athlete in any one of those LA teams, the Rams, the Chargers, everybody out there. like I could imagine just living in LA. I mean, you'd probably be, like you said, embedded in like the whole celebrity.
It's got to be really distracting, honestly. Mm-hmm. I always think about that, like from a pro athlete's perspective, of like, you obviously want to live in a great city, and have culture and restaurants and obviously access to pretty women and like all those things that are the tropes of the professional athlete life, right?
100%.
But if it were me, like I'd probably want to live in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Because like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, okay, good, strong organization.
Right.
Not too many distractions. A couple good restaurants.
Right.
Near major cities. I wouldn't want to be in Atlanta or Miami. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean?
No, 100% no. I give it up to the guys, right?
Totally.
That are able to perform at a super high level, like a Kobe Bryant, who's like one of my biggest guys. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You were able to do it that long in
that place and like really not get fucked up about it at all.
Still go through those 4 a.m. workouts, blackout workouts. Like I give it up to a guy like that.
That's one of those. I mean, he's one of those people though that he was never going to need someone to remind him or steer him straight. He was born that way.
Exactly.
Like that's something that was ingrained in his soul. Before he touched a basketball.
That's true. That's like that work ethic.
Like that's someone in a million shit.
Facts.
Yeah,
facts.
Yeah. All right. So where did the idea come from to start your business? Like, what was the point of inspiration?
Yeah.
When you said like, okay, we're doing this thing. This is our view on fitness, how we help people, how we're of service to people, how we build community. How did you decide to marry all those things, and what's kind of the goal, the biggest goal for your business?
Yeah. So I think maybe the biggest, inspiration really just kind of came from, really 2-part. One, I've always been highly motivated by like my family and like their roots and how they were, brought up, both my mom and my dad's side.
Sure.
I feel like really everyone up until like myself and my sister have had to do, like they've been forced into working situations to get like to provide basically
just to like scrape by
100%. And they're doing things that they're not passionate about, that they don't have a deep love for it. And obviously that's not talking down on them, but just the realization that
it's like, the reality.
It's the reality for a lot of people.
A lot of people. Actually, I was talking to Michael, the owner of Shed, last night, and we touched on that too, and how that is like, I think our biggest problem as a nation is how we are just totally cool with that being the reality for a ton of people.
100%, bro. And my parents growing up were definitely like the trailblazers around both of sets of our family of being like, no, like, we're not going to let our kids stay out late. Like we're going to put, a bedtime on them. We're going to like send them to private schools. We're going to make sure their diet is, we're going to eat turkey bacon instead of bacon every day type of deal. Like
that's
like
really ahead of the curve.
Like everything, bro. And who knows if they were, explicitly trying to come out and be, different. But I think what it was is like, one, they were never exposed to those alternatives, like having a sport to play.
Well, just
like
providing you with the highest percentage of opportunity for success.
Yes,
right.
100%. And exposure.
That's your job as a parent is to do that. That's really cool, man.
Yeah. So they were really, really cool about again, just exposing us to what life could be.
Yeah.
Right. Like what we can make life basically.
Yeah.
And so I've always been highly motivated by that, but then it really also...
That's so cool because so many people that are given opportunity take it for granted.
Yeah,
so to be appreciative of it is really special.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm for sure guilty of that until probably 10 years ago. I spent the latter part of my teens and early 20s just like pissing away a lot of opportunity that was just like put in front of me. Then I had to create my own, right?
But I gotta feel like there's also a lot of positive that comes with that, right?
100%, right? I think that, what's interesting is that each generation of my family has very much had to make their own way in a different way. My dad came from super conservative, like South Carolina family that like worked at a power plant.
Got you.
And he was like, cool. So I'm going to start my own custom tailored men's clothing stores while in college. He owned 5 clothing stores before he graduated college.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he was like the first person in this house to like carry Ralph Lauren and shit. He was like a fucking like trailblazer. Yeah, totally. And then my mom was from, freaking Wilmington, North Carolina, same place as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And she moved out west to El Paso, went to high school there, and was like riding horses and just like living this like country ass life, and was like, I'm gonna fucking move to New York and be a model,
Damn.
And so, you know, like I
polar opposite things sometimes. Yeah.
Totally, you know, and so I think there's this part of us that I think is shaped by our parents that asks us to, if we have that kind of that itch and that bone in our body, to say I can do more, I need to do more, I need to be better. You can only fight that for so long, right? 100%. Like sometimes it's like hard to figure out and channel the energy, and sometimes you don't find the right place to put it towards, and that can be confusing. But if you have it, you have it, and you find it.
100%.
That's really cool, man.
And I think honestly, like my family, knowing like, again, so they were all like farmers beforehand. A lot of them were just like, you know, strawberry farmers. You know, they eventually worked their way up to actually be able to own a field, and then like slowly worked up to being able to own fields within like Salinas, which is why like my family even got to like that agriculture city. Yeah. So like, again, just knowing that like that was all they had and that was all they knew, and literally like there was no fun after that. Like there was nothing after that.
Just
like,
strawberries.
Man, like anything else, any other obstacle, I didn't know I had to file for a franchise tax every single year, even if I didn't make money in my first year. I didn't know that. Yeah. Miscommunication with me and my CPA, and like I'm in bad standings, and like I'm sitting there stressed out because like I don't know what to do. Totally. And like I don't know how to even, like, what's the first step? Who can I even call? And I'm like, dude, like my family literally like had like 10 people living in a 1-bedroom spot. Like, this ain't shit. Like, I'm gonna find it out on Google. Like, it'll be fine. You know
and here's the thing. I mean, that's why we pay CPAs, right?
That's true.
That's true. Like, it's the best like $1,000 or so that you'll spend every year. It'll save you so much money. You know, 100%. Spend $1,000 so you don't owe $10,000. Yeah, you know, that's real. I learned that the hard way a couple of years ago. And I will never make that mistake again. You know, self-employment's a really interesting thing in that regard. Yeah. What was your favorite sport growing up?
Oh man, so it was interesting. My pops played baseball till he was like 32, 33.
Oh wow.
Yeah, not professionally. I believe the team was like a single A, or like I don't even think it was a double A. I think it was like a single A that like really like it was more like old people than it was
just to like go and hang out and ball.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And somewhat, I would say semi-professional, whatever the heck you want to call it. And so being around that all the time, baseball was like my main deal growing up until I was about 10 years old. And then basketball really was just like my main focus, main passion.
So did you play both in high school, or did you switch? Did you say, okay, cool, I'm just going to be basketball?
So I put everything into basketball once I stopped playing baseball when I was like 10 years old. Yeah. So it was really like...
It's like, cool, we're doing this. What position did you play? I'm point
guard. Yeah, point guard, shooting guard, anything around that area. You know what I mean?
You have the personality of a point guard.
Yeah. I got to be talking.
Totally.
That's the way it is. Even playing 2K, the online basketball.
Oh, dude, I know. During this whole situation, I don't even play video games, and like I got an Xbox and started playing 2K just because I was like, I'm so fucking bored and I need basketball. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm going to play virtually.
Yeah, totally.
I love that.
Totally. Cool. What are your favorite sports teams?
So Lakers, absolute favorite. Like diehard Lakers fan. Tennessee Titan football fan.
Interesting.
Yeah, bro. That's like left field right there.
So is that because of the Rams thing?
So yes. Okay, I wanted to spite my dad at a young age. I was like maybe 10 or 11 when they were in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And it was like, you know, short by a yard when Tennessee lost, the Rams won.
No, I remember,
that's like the first era. I was like, you know what? Like, one, I like their colors, and two, like, just to spite my dad, like, I'm going to start liking them.
Those are that was during the Steve McNair time.
Steve McNair, Eddie George, Derek Mason, Frank Blanchett, Keith Bullock. A lot of good. They had a squad.
That was the squad.
That was a good squad.
Yeah. But I'm actually surprised they didn't, like, I don't know. There's so many teams during that area that, like, were totally good enough to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. And, like, I mean, those McNabb freaking Eagles teams, like, it's like crazy they didn't win one, you know? Fucking Andy Reid finally got his ring, you know?
Bless him.
Yeah, bless him.
He needed that.
So, going back to Wilmington for a second. Have you watched all The Last Dance at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Okay, I want to cover that.
Yeah.
So, are you a Kobe or an MJ guy, or both?
Yeah. So up until The Last Dance, and I know it's naive, but like I claim it, like, bro, to me, like, just go all in or don't. Like Kobe is my guy. Like
cool, yeah.
Kobe. So like I think for me personally, if it's me and my buddies chanting about it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm saying Kobe's a better player than Michael Jordan.
Cool.
After watching The Last Dance, like I think it very humbly like put me in my place. It was like, okay, like there's no Kobe without Jordan, and like there was nobody cut from that cloth, that type of cloth. You know what I mean?
He was. No one was like him before that.
No
you know,
one.
like there was no like you could see like a little bit of like little bit of Bird, a little bit of Dr. a little bit of Magic, but like no one like that. Like what are you saying? Like Michael Cooper? Like no, you know, like cool. What did you take away from the documentary that you were like, let's say, most surprised by?
I think how talented he was to be able, Michael Jordan, to be able to step in, like change a team pretty dramatically within like the
change the culture of a franchise.
Change the culture. Quit. Try to go play baseball.
And like actually, what was crazy is like he actually wasn't that bad.
He wasn't that.
You know,
got like what, like a 12-game hitting streak.
12-game hitting streak.
I mean,
batted 200 after not playing baseball for 20 years. Like that's pretty fucking good.
That's not bad at all.
You know, that's a good athlete right there.
That's a great athlete.
Yeah.
Come back, win 3 more. Like, geez, and then step away again, and then came back eventually again. Like
didn't have enough.
Man, like, like you can't argue that. Like ultimately. In my head, again, being the biggest Kobe diehard, having his name, my dog's name is Mamba, like having it embedded in like my culture.
Also, really cute dog, by the way.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, really cute dog.
He's stunning, bro.
Yeah, he really is. He really is.
I think I stepped away with the understanding of like Jordan. Yeah, I get it. Jordan was a better player. Obviously, I didn't grow up in that time.
Totally.
I've never been able to watch something of that magnitude that really put it in perspective.
That's what was really cool for me too. Is like I was born in '83, and so I became conscious of Michael Jordan during the '91 finals. Yeah. Like that's when it first this is happening. You know, for whatever reason, which was that's the year that I started watching the NBA, and it was also the first year. That he won a title, right? You know, and so I went through that, and then obviously the retirement happened, and I was like, okay, well, because I was I was such a Jordan stan at that point. I was like 10, you know, and I was like, he's leaving? What the fuck?
You're just getting started.
Yeah, this is amazing. And I didn't get it, you know. So then I kind of fucking wandered through the wilderness and tried to find a team or something that I wanted, because I grew up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, so sports allegiances are nothing there. It's I guess you could root for the Nuggets because they're close, or the Suns because they're close, but what does that mean?
It's
not home. And I was born in Atlanta, but I moved away from there so young. And also I couldn't be a Hawks fan. I'm not going to root for Dominique. That guy was a fucking chucker. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Respect to the dunk contest, that was dope. You know, but that's not the way basketball should be played.
I feel you. I feel you. I got you.
No, it's really interesting with that though. I think my biggest takeaway was how he used and sometimes imagined the littlest things to motivate success in the moment, right? You know, because I find that really interesting, because it takes this inherent self-knowledge that you're not motivated enough to do what you know needs to be done, and then to consciously create or imagine or perceive this slight that then motivates you to do a job, right? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That's fucking crazy. The amount of mental and emotional buy-in that requires is something that I've actually really been sitting with that on a really heavy level, because it's a dangerous thing to let resentment run your life. It's a dangerous thing to let resentment motivate you. That can get really weird really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that a lot with how we treated people.
Totally.
It's really interesting to think that simultaneously you had this guy that was, one of the best leaders sports has ever seen.
Yeah.
If you're judging it by the metrics of success.
Yes.
And if you're judging it by the metrics of does anyone want to hang out with this guy? That guy sucked.
Yeah.
The guy sucked to hang out with, And I think you saw it with Kobe too, right?
Yeah.
He went through that journey.
Yeah.
And something that I thought was really interesting is when Kobe talked about how he related to Pau when they won those championships together. I think that's where he actually grew past Jordan is he realized that he had a teammate that he couldn't yell at and couldn't bully and couldn't talk to a certain way because he was not going to get the best out of them.
Yes.
You know, which is really interesting to me. Like that continuation of leadership. I think simultaneously Kobe's greatest strength and weakness is his ability to be introspective.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel you.
Because he came in so young, I think that probably fucked him up for a long time.
That's true. That's true.
And also being like, cool, like I'm the hardest working guy in the league now that Jordan's gone. Like no one's gonna work harder than me.
Yeah.
But like I'm in Shaq's shadow, and this guy's like going out all the time and like never fucking works out and just like dunks on people and I'm in here like 10 hours a day and no one gives me credit. And then like the Utah airball thing happened and like that was a whole thing to freaking get over. You know, like he had it rough early on.
100%. And something, just to chime in second, what you have been talking about with like the whole Jordan, situation and the Kobe situation, I feel like it's very interesting to learn from that different levels of communication.
Yeah,
right? You're going to resonate with different people.
Totally.
And I think that's huge when you own a business or you're 100%. A leader, right? Like for me personally, I resonate very much with that Kobe and Michael stance of like. I remember like my sister or even sometimes like my significant other. It's like tough love.
Totally.
Like, and I have to sit with that sometimes and be like, damn, like that feels right to me. Like my intentions are there.
Sure.
But the way it's being received is not optimal, man.
Totally. Very well said. God, that's so interesting. I have been accused so many times. My ex-wife, God bless her. We're great friends now.
Yeah.
She would tell me back in the day, like I'd come home and like, like there'd be like some dishes in the sink or something and I'd like make some like shitty comment about it,
Yeah.
And like not that like they were left there or whatever, just been like, like it's so easy, like let's not be dirty. Like let's clean up after ourselves. Because that to me is like I can't with just like being messy,
I feel you.
But then I realized she's like, I'm not one of your fucking cooks. I'm your wife.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Like, get your ass in check, homeboy. I was like, oh, fuck, okay. I need to check my tone. And while these dishes totally don't need to be dirty, I totally need to find another way to say that.
100%. 100%.
It's funny when that leadership bleeds over in ways where, like, I mean, you're right. Your intentions are totally pure. And, like, the point is kind of one-sided.
Yeah. 100%.
And yet you can totally fuck up that point with how you say it,
100%.
It's really interesting, man.
I think, honestly, for me personally, that's definitely my next layer, that next level in my relationship.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because especially that we work together.
That's what I wanted to touch on. Yeah. So I think, something that's always been really important to me, and I'm curious if it is for you, is, especially when you're owning a business, you eat and sleep it so much that built-in time to actually pull away and decompress and pull eyes off of it so that you can get fresh eyes on it.
Yeah.
Super important, right?
100%.
That must be harder when, your business partner essentially is also your significant other and you live together, how do you guys decompress?
Man, so it's so funny because this weekend we had talked about just like, hey, like when are we going to do something for like fun? Like when could we do
like for
something
us.
for fun? Yeah, for us.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy for us because we're so passionate about what we talk about, which if I'm trying to simplify is trying to build healthy lifestyle habits that are ultimately going to help us be as resilient and as durable as possible, right? And that goes from having, a solid night of sleep. So our evening routine, having a solid...
I need a lot of help there, by the way. It's like real bad.
I got you. Real bad. It's so funny that sleep
I'm like resistant to getting a Whoop. Just because I know that it'll
let you know
tell me how bad I am with fucking sleeping.
So
it's like
30%.
Yeah.
No, I think that we're so passionate about what we talk about. We're surrounding ourselves by whether it be reading or talking about it with our clients or like trying to further our understanding. Like we're around it so much that like we love it. It keeps us on our toes. Like it's something that we're doing for like, from a monetary standpoint as well.
Sure.
But yes, 100% like we need to be able sometimes to like, hey, you know what? Maybe if it's a Wednesday and we suddenly have like from 2 p.m. on nothing on the calendar.
Yeah.
Like we gotta take this time right now. Like, and ultimately for us, like for me, a good recovery is because I'm so active. Like I need to get on the couch.
Yeah.
Like, I just need to get on the couch
and just like get horizontal.
Yeah, like I like honestly, like let me just stare at something maybe on the screen, and like I don't want to like put on the Kardashian show.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna sit there and kind of stare at
like
the screen.
You actively need my mind to turn off.
To just turn
that
off.
show's great for that.
You know, exactly. You know? So I use it as an example.
Yeah.
No, so something like that. Or ultimately for us as well, like Barton Springs is like our big disconnect. So
totally.
Getting out again, just with
sun
nature,
and cold water too is like, God, it's so restorative.
That's all we need, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's so restorative.
Because from a health perspective, I think we're okay because we go on our daily walks all throughout the day. So we're moving, we're doing mobility throughout the day, whether it be on a Zoom or with a client, right?
Sure.
And then like from a reading standpoint, like feeding our mind, like we're doing that every single morning.
Dope.
Like from a breath standpoint, like we're taking care of that. Obviously, in the middle of the day, it's kind of tough, but like in the beginning and at the end of the day, there are things that we live by.
That's 99% more than most people are doing.
100%.
That's cool,
100%.
man. So it sounds like you have a lot of structure built in to kind of. So if there's space, it's very obvious what to do with that.
Yes,
cool.
100%.
Cool. Okay, I vibe with that. That's really cool. All right, so here's. All right, 2 questions.
Okay.
Top 10 NBA players of all time.
Damn.
I know.
Damn.
So I'm gonna give you a hot take just to open it up a little bit because I think like people, I think everyone is like scared to like really insert their opinion in this list, and everyone just wants to say what everyone else says.
Yeah.
You know, and like fuck that. Like let's
okay.
let's share our opinions here.
Dope.
Bill Russell's overrated. Okay.
You think so? Yeah.
He's the best winner of all time. Yeah. No one will ever be a player coach again. It's amazing.
Right.
But if you're asking me to draft 10 players to build the best team ever, I'm probably not drafting him.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm probably not.
Probably not.
You know? I can think of 10 people that like will play better and complement each other way better than that.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Also, Will feel the same way. But for opposite reasons, right? Like not a winner.
Right.
Like homeboy was just like, I'm just gonna lead the league in assists this year because I'm fucking tall and I can.
Yeah.
Like, cool, dude.
Do whatever you want.
Way to not win another championship with fucking more gifts than anybody had in like a 20-year period.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I agree.
Keep dunking on fucking white guys my size. You know?
I feel you. I feel you. So
all right, so
if I'm going explicit, I'm gonna say definitely Kobe Bryant.
Of course,
number 1, right?
Yeah.
Kobe 1. Definitely on the thought process of like Shaq 2.
Okay.
Right? Which is crazy because again, I'm trying not to be a Laker fan
So that leads me to my next question. Are you taking Orlando Shaq or are you taking I mean Lakers
tough.
are like 2000, 2001 Shaq is like probably the most dominant Shaq.
Yep.
I think he averaged, what was it, like 35 and 16 in the finals or some shit that year. It was like
dumb numbers
and like 65% from the field.
Yeah, because
it's still 45 from the line.
Of course. Those are like the most stressful times of watching as a fan. Every time Shaq went to the line, it's so funny to say that.
I know.
No, I would seriously put him number 2.
Okay,
and I would even say, I mean, shit, man, even like his year where he won with D Wade, like.
Yeah, the Miami Shaq was like, I mean, for a year was good. Yeah,
it was a different league, right? At that point, I think it was way quicker, and it was like this like stretch, like a tweener between a guard. He can handle the ball like a guard, but it's got the size of like a power forward.
Sure,
but is long and lengthy like a small forward. Like they have like this weird tweener position where I feel like the game got a lot quicker and more transition, more threes.
Totally.
But I still feel like from like a domination standpoint, like who's going to guard Shaq one-on-one?
No one ever.
No one.
No one ever.
No one can ever guard
100%.
Shaq. It's kind of like LeBron. Like from a guard standpoint, like who's
2000 and I would say his second Miami season.
Yeah.
Right? It was like where like he was still peak athleticism.
Yeah.
Like finally got that chip.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And they and what was that winning streak? Like 27? Is that what it was?
20, it was 27 games.
Yeah. And it was just like, I mean, I remember watching those like alley oops and like those fast breaks and shit, and just like his like chins at the rim. You're just like,
oh my
God damn! And that's when he finally settled into a jump shot.
Yeah,
like it like finally was really okay. Like I can like with a little bit of assurance think you're going to make this shot. Whereas opposed to like those early Cleveland years where like
I'm just going to try to get to the rim.
Like I'm just going to dunk all the time, you know. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have
we got
Shaq, Kobe,
and then I got Michael for sure.
Okay, cool.
Then we got Michael.
Okay, and then are we going LeBron after that?
I was going to say LeBron after that.
So what's really interesting is that we have 3 people or 4 people that all played really close together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for the most part. Basically 90s and 2000s, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say those 4 right there. Then I'm going to say 5, Magic.
Great choice.
Right?
Great choice. Probably putting LeBron at the 4 there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
100%.
It's a great starting 5.
Yeah, it's a great starting 5. That's a good 5 right there.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, man, like, I got to say Bird.
Yeah, I agree.
Larry Bird is legit. You know, he had a game.
There's no one that did more with less.
Yeah, exactly.
That dude had that much fucking athleticism and was shaking dudes out of their sneakers.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, he was named Basketball Jesus for a reason. You know?
Was he named Basketball
Jesus? That was
Jesus?
his nickname, was Basketball Jesus.
What?
Yeah, that like in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, like at Indiana State when he was going against Magic. Like, fucking Basketball Jesus. Yeah. I mean, that's also some, like, praising white people shit that, like, people did back then. That's, like, it's, like, a little dicey when you think about it, like, the actual roots of that. But, you know, that was his nickname,
Yeah. And then, I got to wonder, like...
So you could use some shooting. I mean, you got Bird.
I was going to say Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, okay,
I wonder, like, where Steph Curry kind of fits into that whole deal right there.
So what's really interesting to me is when you're talking about top 10, to me, it's really it's really swingman and big man heavy.
Yeah.
And there aren't actually a ton of great shooters in most people's top 10.
Right.
Because, like, 100%. At some point, you probably have to entertain the Tim Duncan conversation.
I was going to put Timmy in there as probably the last big guy.
That's another guy that can't shoot, right?
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
Board's true. I mean, Board, and I mean, God, what was that year? Was it 2004?
It was when
Tim just like went ham on the Lakers that year.
It was 04.
Yeah. That was like, whoa.
Yeah, new Timmy right there.
Because like I mean, I really never. He was not the most entertaining player to watch.
No, not at all.
I mean, like when he was going up against KG, I was always rooting for KG.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
But that's interesting. Cool. Okay, so
him or Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller was. Oh God, that reminds me. That was the guy I rooted for when Jordan retired the first time. I was like, all right, it's Miller.
Reggie.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, I mean, I was a shooter, and so I was like, okay, cool, that's going to be my guy. And he's a shit talker, and, like, just, you know.
Out there with this shit. Didn't really
you know.
I like it. I like that.
And the whole just, like, he was super entertaining.
Yeah.
Super entertaining.
100%.
Okay, who else? So we got Reggie Miller, we got Kobe, Jordan, Steph. So we have, 8 right now?
We have 8 right there. Yep.
Okay, so 2 more.
So Jabbar.
Oh, great choice.
We got it.
The only unblockable shot in NBA history.
We got to throw Jabbar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. Great choice.
And then,
hell of a backup center.
100%. Bring him off the bench.
Bring him off the bench.
Get your goggles on.
Yeah, get buckets. Yeah.
And then, man, honestly, we started talking about shooters too. It made me think about, like, Ray Allen.
Yeah.
And the longevity of, I mean.
Ray Allen in 2K?
It's nasty.
Just doesn't miss.
Quick release.
It's unreal.
It is unreal, bro.
It's unreal.
And honestly, he did it for a while. Like, his career evolved.
That's the thing. Is I don't think people actually realize that, like, he's one of those guys that, like, if he wanted to score 35 a game, he could have.
He'd get the shots up. He'll get open. Yeah, 100%.
But, like, he actually played the right way.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And he could have taken 4 more threes a game.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
I think he took 8 at his peak, which is, like, I mean, you look at, like, what people are taking now, like, Harden.
Jacking him up. Oh, yeah.
All right, thoughts on James Harden now that we have your top 10?
Yeah, so I was thinking about putting James Harden in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, one-on-one, like, what makes him so, like, special is his ability to play with, like, tempo, right? So, like, he's not the fastest player, right? And he's definitely not the quickest.
That's a good point.
I resonate with.
Yeah.
And, I mean, majority of time, like, people are probably going to be, like, as, you know, less athletic than a Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Name any other guard in the NBA.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to be able to keep up with them at that pace, you're not going to be able to outrun them.
Yeah.
Right? Which he's not able to do.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do at that point?
Change speeds.
I mean, he, like, puts them to kind of, like, sleep on their heels. And then you know what I'm saying? Like, he's very good at accelerating and decelerating. So I love his game. I can't stand, though, when my team is playing against him just because of some of the fouls. But
I know.
He's playing, I mean, you know, it's like, whose fault is it? It might be
It's Reggie Miller's fault.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fucking Reggie Miller's fault.
Yeah.
Totally.
But he's nasty, bro. You can't guard him one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like watching him. I do appreciate his game. You know,
100%.
like it's like I just like more moves.
Yeah.
To lead someplace else. I see all these moves and it's like, okay, cool, that shit's dope. And it's like, oh, cool, and we're stepping back for another 3.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, we get it. You know,
could have got past it.
Yeah, you could have done 5 other things. You know. Which is actually really funny because that's probably the shot I take the most. Like, I was taking step back threes 20 years ago, you know? I pioneered the step back three. I created Steph Curry. Kidding.
I like that. Steph Curry. You watched me before I watched him.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna get on the record with my top 10. I am gonna go. Oh, God, I'm gonna go Jordan 1. I probably have the same starting 5 actually. I would also take Shaq. I would take Kobe. I like playing Jordan at Kobe. Kobe at 2-3. Because I think that is just like Jesus.
You can't double team. You
can't double team anybody. You know. And then I love LeBron at 4. I think. I mean, Magic is the best point guard ever. You know, so I think I largely agree with that 5. I think Timmy before the Achilles, I would have taken Durant.
Ooh, yeah.
Like
that's somebody I was debating too.
Like, because I think like we'll see what happens. The breadth of his career. Yep. I mean, it's already all time, but is it like top 10 all time or top 30 all time? Is kind of a conversation like this. Bird for sure. I'm a huge Bird fan. The Dream for me. Like I love the fucking Dream. I will probably take him. He can actually play power forward. And center too. So I'll take that. You got to take Jabbar. I love that neither of us said Wilt.
Yeah. Even though because that's the tough part. Like he was so big compared to everybody else during that time.
Like there's no skills that I see that I can like. I feel like I can appreciably translate. To what I know basketball to be now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Aside from rebounding and shot blocking, right?
Right.
But like even then, it's like, you know,
there's so many more guys that are multifaceted in today's game.
Yeah, 100%. For sure. And then I would take Steph over Ray Allen, even though Ray's probably a better shooter.
Yeah.
I like Steph's passing more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Although a much bigger defensive liability.
Yeah. I'm sure.
It's not a great situation. It's,
no post-ups, please.
Yeah. We're just like don't have to guard any good players. Like it's like you know, like he gets beat up on the defensive. You know who's actually really underrated? I wouldn't put him in my top 10. Is actually Isaiah Thomas. That guy was someone who completely had the ability to score 30 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's true.
Like every time he went 1-on-1, like you had to double team him to stop him. You know what I mean? Yep. And he was 5'10".
Yeah.
You know, like that guy was fucking tiny.
Yeah.
And
sucks that the whole Last Dance thing that
God,
I never knew that there was that drama.
Yeah.
I never knew that him and Jordan had a little something.
Fucking hate each other still. And let's be honest, Isaiah probably doesn't still hate him.
Right.
It's a one-sided situation with Michael. You know what I mean? Like that's a dude that holds grudges. You know,
he needs that motivation every morning to work out.
For sure, man. For sure. All right. So next thing I want to touch on, because it's always been really interesting to me, and I think, obviously being a basketball fan, what was the relationship between music and sports kind of growing up for you?
Man, I feel like, honestly, I would use music a lot of times to, find motivation going into games, right?
Because there's, your warm-up tape and shit like that. They've always been directly connected.
Yep.
And obviously hip-hop has, in our lifetime, been, such an integral part of basketball culture.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, 100%.
Cool.
Yeah, and also too, it's just so much. If we think about it, that's also something that the basketball community has kind of created another sub community under, right? As subculture is that urban culture of hip hop and rap music. That's something that usually that community that you're going to find, right? Again, showing up to the court.
Yeah.
Probably going to have some similar interests there.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Which is just, I think, another way to kind of create that deeper sense of community.
No, it's so true. What's interesting to me is actually basketball is what drew me to rap. So I was in the early 90s, I was 8 or 9 years old. I was like into grunge and Nirvana and shit like that. And then once I hit a big growth spurt, you know, and they're like, okay, cool. Like, you're now like a head taller than everybody else. And I didn't grow a lot more, you know. It was actually really, I went from being a 2 guard to a center to a point guard.
Dang.
Yeah. So it was really actually a good way to develop skills in like a very short period of time. Because I got asked to do a lot of different things. Like, okay, you have to be a good shooter and like a reasonable ball handler. And that was like my life as like, I mean, in elementary school.
Right.
Then, like, in middle school, I was, like, tall. So, like, you're a center now. I was like, I'm a center? You know? Okay.
Let me just bring up the ball.
Yeah. But then because of the skills I had as a guard, once I got to 8th grade, they put me on JV. And I was back to being a point guard again. Okay. But I was always a shoot first point guard.
Got you. I got you.
I was not.
No pass first.
No. I was. You know. I want to say I was more Steph Curry, but I was probably more Stephon Marbury.
I like that. Who's still good at it.
Minus putting the Vaseline on my face.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking weird.
That was weird.
That was fucking weird.
Strawberry. That's funny.
That shit was crazy. Cool. Okay. So how do you think, let's take basketball specifically. So how do you think basketball and music talk to each other and influence one another in today's culture?
I think if anything, it's really just like a platform, right? Like another platform to be heard.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if many athletes know like the impact. I'm sure, you know, over time they understand it through social media and following and followers and ambassadorships and companies putting things in, you know, to put out there. Like, they have such a big influence of like, you know, because sports is such a big influence to like Western society. Like,
I mean, that is like how there's so many monetizable aspects to like just watching a sports game, right? Whether it's live or on TV, right? So, okay, cool. Well, let's say I'm watching, you know, the Blazers, Lakers, or whatever, right? You know, and just like the ads you're gonna get, just by someone knowing that you're interested in that content. It's real data.
It's crazy, man.
You know.
I think that again, like just basketball and hip hop, one, there's similar interests, right? So the people who are going to be interested in both those, again, like it's all centered around sports, and I think that again, it really serves as a great platform for people just to be heard. You know what I mean? And man, I think honestly in today's society, it's probably bigger than, you know, social media like itself. Just like athletes and artists, right? Like especially hip hop. I was just talking about this the other day. Like, I feel like hip hop has definitely been like the music.
It's pop culture now,
right? It's like pop culture.
It is pop culture.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you look at any top 50 list, you know, whether it's Billboard or Spotify or whatever, you know, and 35 of those songs are going to be hip hop. 10 of those songs are going to be R&B. And then the other 5 are going to be whatever the fuck the other 5 are that week. You know what I mean? But 100%. Like, I mean, what's interesting is the cultural influence of that, how those two speak to each other, has never been more powerful. Right? It's never been more powerful.
I agree with that 100%. Cool.
Let's see. So, family. What was it like growing up in your family? I mean, you've touched on it a little bit. And how does that relate to your personal and professional life now?
My life, I feel like my young life had like a lot of structure. You know what I mean? It was very much like there was purpose behind like what we were doing. You know what I mean? I think my parents, and especially my mom, like really pressed like education and like, again, trying to fill our cup up with as many opportunities as possible. So that, again, we could have the ability to choose to do something that we really loved, or have the ability to choose something that we were very passionate about, you know? But yeah, I think I'm sorry, I completely lost track of thought. I was going to go down like one rabbit hole. Just completely spazzed out.
No, we'll edit that out. It's all good.
Okay.
That's why we do these things. Like, you know, like, I mean, I paused for like 10 seconds on my shit. Well, it'll all get polished. Don't worry about it.
Hell yeah.
No, so like how do you relate I guess how you came up to how you approach your personal and professional life now? You know, like what are like some of the biggest takeaways from your early family life to say like, okay, like these are the pillars that were instilled in me and things that I plan on passing on. right?
I think, really, again, like having structure and purpose behind what you're doing, right? Like, so today I think that translates into like having a set schedule, right? And having a specific time that like we wake up at. And it's not, it used to be for like a little period, like in college, it was like, oh, wake up 30 minutes before you got to be in class and literally get there right on the mark.
Yeah.
But other than college, and even, towards like my last 2 years, I would say the first 2 years of college were fun. The last few years were still fun, but a lot more just coming down on structure. Like, I realized that since I was a kid and what I'm doing right now has allowed me to kind of like separate myself from trying to like, again, now where I'm at, like building a business, building a brand, building something that like I feel very confident in with my 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that like I fully like resonate with. So therefore, for me, it's like I'm already winning because like I'm not having to fake anything.
Yeah.
In terms,
you're coming from a place of authenticity.
100%. Yeah. And there's no type of feeling like that. Yeah. It's really to be honest, like it's really all I know, other than the time that I worked at jobs like Chipotle or like a frozen yogurt spot, like where I realized, okay, I don't want to be training my time. Yeah, this is not it. This is furthest thing from me. Yeah. I think just understand that, like, hey, like, have a routine, have structure, and have, like, a purpose of, like, what you want to do. And ultimately, that's why your schedule fills up, and that's why you're doing all these things, is because you're trying to get to whatever end destination.
Totally. Yeah, I approach many the same way. I mean, I think, I mean, I don't know about you, but the most important, like, I mean, time of day for me is, like, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. If I can get 3/4 of the work I need to get done in that time, the rest of the day is gravy. Because here's the thing: you get busy enough, and enough things always come up. Yeah. This person needs that. This person needs that. There's a surprise phone call here. Something went wrong over here.
Right.
And then, fuck, what happened to my day?
Yeah. Seriously.
And then a lot of times what happens with that is you end up trying to do that same work. If you didn't get it done in the morning, you're trying to do it at night with the fatigue of the day on your shoulders. Right? Which is inherently less productive. If you can create time in the morning to like actually just sit and focus and channel the energy in one direction before other things are pulling at you. That for me is huge.
100%.
Huge. And that's something that I think was actually relatively new. I've always been an early riser, but actually using that time specifically more effectively and realizing that was it actually happened when I got out of restaurants, like on a night to night basis, and said, okay, like what's actually my most productive time for my mind? Because I always thought it would be night because I was a night owl. Turns out it's totally not. Turns out it's super early in the morning, and I can get done in 3 or 4 hours what used to take me 8.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Just because of that switch, right?
Yes.
So interesting.
I know. I would 100% like second that the fact of like my mornings are like my most precious times, and like you said, chances are if I can get the majority of my work done in the AM, like rest of the day is easy. Yeah,
it's all good. I like a really scheduled morning. Yeah. So let's talk about food too. How'd you grow up with food? What's your relationship like? What was your relationship with food as a kid, and what's your relationship with food now? Because I think in the realm of fitness, right, there's so many ways to view food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
A lot of them healthy.
Right.
Some of them really unhealthy.
Right.
Right. Yep. So I'm curious about that.
Man, so like growing up, it was so weird. Again, my parents, so growing up, as traditional Mexican as you can be, right? Like not too many things are healthy per se.
Sure.
And it's really just the way it's prepared. I think it's just a lot of lard.
Like I was just going to say, a lot of lard and a lot of flour, right?
Basically. And everything that goes into beans, rice, all that stuff, right? Yeah. And they're great foods. And I think my parents growing up, again, realized like, okay, like we ate like this. That was like when the whole, like from what I remember, like turkey bacon and like the Atkins diet,
like South Beach diet, like all that shit,
all that stuff, like low calorie and soy this, soy chorizo, all this.
Totally.
Like, my parents were like big on that because at that time they just thought, oh, well, it's got to be healthier,
sure,
right?
Which I mean,
exactly,
We know more now, right?
Exactly. That's the whole point. We know more now. But again, their intention was, well, we just want to give them something alternative that's going to be healthier. So like growing up, man, for me, like I looked at food as almost like a delicacy where like if I can not eat with my parents and I go eat with like some of my other family members, like oh, I can get whatever I want.
Yeah.
But like with my parents, it was
super strict.
Very strict, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is funny because growing up, I was super chubby.
Really?
Like I'm talking like not even chubby, bro. Like I was definitely overweight.
Wow.
Yeah, like very much overweight. And
huh.
It was, again, like it was something I was definitely self-conscious about as a kid.
Yeah.
But for me, like I was always very active. I think when I got into those moments where I didn't have that structure, my family would be like, yo, you just shouldn't eat this. Like I would literally like inhale a whole large pizza to myself. Totally. And it's like, dude, you're like 12 years old. How the hell did you eat that pizza, dude? And like, you know, sometimes I know people stress eat or, you know, there's all these different things that could come up.
Sure.
I don't ever feel like as a kid, like I was, you know, stressed or you know, I ate. If anything, it was just maybe like a way of like, oh, I want to be a kid and I'm going to express myself in being wild and eating this pizza that my parents.
Well, I think too, I mean, there's like, I can eat a lot of certain foods and be fine.
Right.
And then eat a little bit of other foods and not be fine.
Yeah.
And they're not healthier or less healthy than one another. It's just our bodies respond to different, ingredients differently. You know, everyone's truly an individual in that regard.
Yes.
So how would you describe your relationship with food now?
Definitely like food is fuel.
Cool.
100%. I mean, the way I look at it is, you know, so for example, right now, haven't been able to lift as much as I usually would, right? If gyms were usually open.
Sure. I got some weights right there.
I know I was about to say, I've been staring at them like, man, like, is that what they look like? I forgot what they look like.
I kind of went hard online when this whole thing happened, and then like a bunch of shit I ordered like 2 months ago came in last week.
I was gonna say this whole time with like fitness equipment,
it's been so hard,
dude.
It's been so fucking hard.
It's cool that you got them though. Before it went crazy.
I bought the barbell from my gym,
nice.
And then the road competition plates came in last week. The other stuff,
nice.
I bought like 2 months ago. Like as soon as all this happened, I was like, come
right
on,
away.
Like, what do I got to pay?
Yep.
Like, like I'm not going to live in this world where I'm like not having the shit that I need, you know, because that is, I do really poorly in those circumstances.
I feel you.
know,
I feel you.
And if I want every other thing in my life to be successful, I got to prioritize movement.
Setting up your environment for success, bro.
Structure.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. But yes, I'm sorry. Food. So basically, food is fuel, right? So like, if right now I haven't been lifting as much, but our daily job now requires, if I'm not coaching somebody, right, like in a fucking 95-degree gym with like no AC, like if I'm coaching them, I'm burning calories, right? Just like sweating my butt off, right?
Yeah.
And then our other job is basically shooting like workouts, like you know, full on workouts, which are right now a lot of like body weight. And there's one workout that we do on a weekly basis that's like a single kettlebell. Yeah. So it's like not a lot of load. So like for me, what I used to eat with like, you know, a little bit more weightlifting, more reps, right, more volume load, like now is kind of like
you totally you have to doctor it.
You know what I mean? And I've realized that like the first 2 weeks, like I was like, God damn, like I don't need abs, but what's all this?
Like, what the fuck?
I'm like kind of feeling flabby.
Yeah.
And of course, like your training changes, like everything. It's got to be.
It always takes a little bit to adjust too, because you just get in the habit of like, okay, this is what I have prepped, this is what I have portioned, this is what I'm going to eat, and then you're like, cool, I'm consuming 800 more calories than I need to every day. You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
For me, it was like oatmeal. Like I'm big on just having enough carbs because I do really well on carbs. Yeah. And I just realized, I was like, dude, I'm literally killing like a full bag of like rolled oats in like 2 days. When like that was normal back then, but now I can span over like 8 days now and be perfectly fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just I think understanding when I need energy. Yeah. Okay, cool. I need this. If I'm trying to put on weight, okay, I need to eat. Yeah. And if I'm not, then I don't need to eat as much.
So, I mean, something that I've noticed on your Instagram and is, I think you have a really interesting and diverse fitness background, which is to say, like, you have, you know, a good amount of kettlebell training, you have some Olympic lifting training, you have obviously basketball training, which is, I mean, generally connected to like more traditional training methods. And then you have this thing that like essentially you're kind of developing that is completely unique to y'all, you know, the Durable Athlete brand. Yeah. How do you get those things to speak to one another? Is that something that like where you take an athlete and say, okay, cool, your body type's like this,
right? And
then I'm going to say, okay, like you're like pretty thick. You have like a lot of muscle mass. Like we're just going to focus on body weight stuff and like explosiveness. Or like you're super lanky, like a lot of basketball players are. Yeah. Let's put a barbell on your back and see how terrible your ankle mobility is. Because every basketball player has the worst fucking ankle mobility. Ankles. It's so bad. Yeah. I couldn't overhead squat for a year when I first started CrossFit.
I believe it.
It was fucking crazy.
I believe that.
It was so humbling.
Tight hips, tight ankles.
Oh, so
yeah. It's like 99.9% of the people we see, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like everybody. But athletes, oh man, like they have absolutely no control. Some have no control of like their toes. Just because they've received so many shots.
Totally.
They've received so many injuries to that area.
Yeah, that's wild.
Taped it up so many times.
We've seen LeBron's feet.
Bro. And he spends more money than anybody else.
Over $1 million a year.
Bro.
Maybe we should spend another $1 million on those feet. On
pedicures.
Just on the feet alone. Yeah, no doubt. No
doubt. Yeah, to be honest, man, like this whole idea of like mobility, one, I have to say I'm like getting to the point now where my social media almost kind of helps me speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's not with
great,
like followers or all that type of shit, but it's more along the lines of like, yo, well, first of all, I can tell you about the benefits of mobility and this movement all we want.
Sure.
But if you do it and you feel and you experience it, like I don't need to try to like sell you all the sciencey benefits. And that's something that I've learned like since day one, I was like,
have the big conversation, not the little conversation.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But to be honest, I think it also gets to a point where a lot of people are coming to me now and they're like, hey, I got this issue. Like, it's literally surgery or like,
wow, that's really cool.
Right? Yes.
That's really cool.
Very interesting.
That's value.
Very much so. And I think that is, that's not the most ideal time for us to begin a relationship is when someone's like literally at the edge, right? Yeah. But like,
but also cool that you can help that.
Yes.
You certainly a long path backward to where you want them to be.
Yes, 100%.
But the fact that that's possible is really cool.
100%. And I think they see there's so much room for improvement. Yeah. They feel the change. They see the change. And then from there, it's really just on them about them to being like, okay, well, this is something now this is now going to become part of my routine. Yeah. Like when I go into my performance training or I do my off-season training or I am getting ready for a game or a practice, like my get-up needs to be different. Yeah. Because we're constantly, we're only getting older.
No doubt.
We're only getting, less, less able. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what are we going to do to kind of slow down?
To counteract that.
Deterioration.
Totally. Who's been, if you can't tell me there's like an NDA situation, that's fine. But who's been your most rewarding person to work with as a client, or group of people?
Damn, yeah. Ooh. I would definitely say there's something to be said about like working with like youth athletes. Yeah. There's definitely something to be said about working with like middle school, high school athletes. You know what I mean? And they don't even really have to be athletes so much because I've worked with just high school athletes while I was working high school clients that were not athletes. Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said about like working with a younger athlete because one, there's so much room for potential. Yeah. Two, their bodies like literally are looking to adapt. Yeah. Like they're so ready to adapt. They're just like, give me some, like, let's back squat today and like 200 pounds for the first time. And I'll come back in 2 days and we'll do 215. Yeah. Like no problem. Second time ever back. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just ready to go. Yeah. And so I love that. And then three, like just that creating that relationship at a young age and showing them like, hey, like my relationship isn't because like you're a professional athlete. And, like, I just want to be close to you. Totally. It's like I literally just want to be here to show you that I can help you.
Yeah. That's really cool. You know what I mean? That's really cool. Well, I think it speaks to, like, that being of service. Yes, right?
Totally.
Like, which is those of us that have the ability to do more than just scrape by with whatever skill set we've developed, I think we owe it to the world to give back.
Yes, 100%. But if I do have one flex, it was definitely the baseball pitcher that I'm working with right now from the Nationals. Yeah. So I worked with him this past offseason. Obviously, this spring training went on, but then at the later stages of spring training, the whole COVID deal, right? So he came back into town. We've been working for probably like the last month and a half now. Mm-hmm. We're about almost close to a month and a half now. Yeah. And he told me that he usually is throwing like 92, maybe touching 93 a couple times with this fastball. Yeah. Which in Major League Baseball, like
that's okay.
That's okay, exactly. Yeah. Especially as a reliever, like that's not great. So you better have some good off speed. You better have
some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he comes back to me and we're training during this COVID time, and he's like, "Yeah, bro, like." And by the way, he doesn't speak any English, which is legit. Like he's like Cuban, like at all. So everything's in Spanish.
He's just Cuban as fuck.
Cuban as hell. Like you talk about like coaching, like you want to be a coach. Like, yes. Yeah. Like, coaching 1-on-1 right here. Like the bound. There's so many boundaries there. It's like we have, I mean, you know, the communication, let's put it this way, communication skills have to be like on fleek with somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? Just because from an ethnicity standpoint, like it's very different.
Sure.
Right? Professional athlete, non-athlete there's always something there too. Totally. You know what I mean?
That's a really interesting thing. Yeah, it's like the whole like you haven't done this thing,
right?
And it's like, yo, that's not what this is not.
No. There's no pencil stuff around.
Yeah, I would be worse at this if I had done that because I would have spent too much time doing this other thing and not gotten good at this.
It's true.
That's the thing about coaching and training is that I think professional sports are a great example. I think that's why I think like great players seldom make great coaches.
Yes,
because it's a different mindset.
It's
a totally different mindset.
And true that because I'll finish up with the baseball stuff right now. But I think to that too is I've helped tell athletes because sometimes the issues I've had is like payment, right? Because this stuff is so new and because certain pro athletes just like if people don't know, like they just like are not used to paying for certain things sometimes. I know it's not saying everything,
totally,
but like their training for sure. Like it is not an uncommon thing that guys don't pay for their training. I'm not saying their agent pays for it. I'm saying like they could go anywhere.
Yeah,
and you could use their likeness again. Like it kind of goes back to that, right?
Yeah. And that's an interesting gray area that I'm sure is hard to navigate.
It is so like I remember as a young intern, like in high school and in college, PTs that I would intern under would say like, "Oh, you want to work with athletes?" Like, well, this is the biggest downfall.
Yeah.
And like it was exactly that. And once I got into it, I was like, "Oh shit, it's true. Like this is a thing."
Yeah.
But trying to tell them like, "Hey, like you're trying to be the best player you can be, right? Like you're trying to be the Michael Jordan of your sport, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I'm like doing the same thing right now. Like I'm attempting to do the same thing. So like the way that you would say you attack your practices, your games, your approach, all that, like I promise you, like I'm doing like that and probably 10 times more for what I'm trying to do. Like I'm trying to be the Michael Jordan of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes that kind of helps put in perspective. Like okay, well, like. Yeah, like fuck. If I showed up for work and I didn't get paid, like I'm not gonna go play this football game for free. Like 100%. No, I'm not playing. You know what I mean? So like in that terms,
helps.
right?
Yeah,
perspective. Totally. Trying to get them to kind of understand. But I'm sorry, not to get too far. But the baseball player throws 92, 93.
Yeah, came
back and said he was touching 97, and he said he was touching 97 consistently, not just like one or two pitches. And I was like, man, that's like legit. Like that's dope. Like. It was my first baseball player I've ever worked with. Yeah. Right. Second of all, it was like of all the stuff that we were doing, I was like, fuck, I think like if I'm just sticking to the principles of what I've been telling everyone my whole life,
then this will work.
Then this should work.
Yeah.
And like, dude, like not only is his hamstring not bugging him anymore, but like he's throwing 97. I'm like, oh, bro.
Yeah,
like,
that's dope.
This is dope. Like that's cool. Like that's awesome. That's a good. That means that like I'm on the right track.
That's going to make that guy money, too. I mean, if you put 4 miles an hour on your fastball, you're a different player.
Completely different player, bro.
You know?
Yeah, that's why I try to say, like, if you don't understand, like, sports, like, if that goes up 1 mile per hour consistently.
I mean, 4 miles per hour on your fastball consistently, that's $100 million. Yeah. If you're able to sustain that over time, that's $100 million on a contract.
Right.
Like, for real.
100%.
You know? I mean, if you have the other stuff. If you don't have other stuff, then that
ain't shit.
That ain't shit. Yeah, for real. You know. But if you do, like, you're a fucking really good pitcher.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
God, that's fucking rad.
Yeah, that felt like a good win for sure.
For sure.
And I don't do that enough. I need to bask in the wins.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we all do, right? That's real. I mean, when you're trying to be successful all the time, you're doing exactly that. You're not celebrating your own success.
That's true.
What has been the hardest thing to do for you as a trainer? What's been the most challenging road to walk?
Man, I think reciprocation of energy and time. So kind of like what we were talking about with like getting people to, from a monetary standpoint, to respect like what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I know sometimes the new thing, right? Like there's free samples, there's free stuff that you do for people in order to kind of get them to understand where you're coming from, to experience it, right? To feel it, right? That energy. Sure. And I think there's, that's understandable. I get that, but like, we definitely just getting people to respect, again, just like that what we do is a profession. It's not just like it's our hobby because we love it, right? And
that's the thing. It's a hobby for them.
Yes.
And so
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's probably why sometimes it's that disconnect.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I find it really easy to value personally. I mean, you know how much CrossFit gyms cost? It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I know.
And I would pay more, honestly. You know,
right.
You could ask me to pay 30% more, and I'd be like, cool. As long as the programming's there.
Yeah.
And like I'm paying for like high quality, clean facilities that like serve me, you know? Fuck yeah.
Yep. I agree with that.
Okay, so last question. Mm-hmm. Aside from body weight, if you have to choose one piece of equipment in the gym that's like your favorite piece of equipment, what is it?
I would probably say a kettlebell. I would definitely go kettlebell.
Because you know what I mean?
Because that matters.
Because
I would say
like a 32, 24.
I was going to say either. I was going to say 28, but you said 32, so I can't say 28. I would say no. I would say like between a 28 and then like a 32 is what I was thinking. Because like I could front rack, just on one side. I could front rack and get into some lunges. It's going to be challenging.
Totally.
I could overhead press it. I could do some windmills. It's going to be challenging.
Totally.
So I would like
to do some American swings at like high volume to get your heart going. Yeah,
100%.
Totally. Yeah,
I could handle that. I would like to be able to get 28 kilograms or 32 to feel like pressing overhead is pretty easy.
Totally.
I would struggle with that right now. That's probably why I would pick that weight.
Cool. Well, good answer.
Hell yeah.
Anything else?
Man, dude, seriously, just like very much like a lot of gratitude.
Yeah.
Very, very much grateful
likewise.
to be able to kind of like just sit down and be able to kind of just share a little bit about myself. I think that there's a big piece that goes into that as a business owner, right?
That's the thing. I think that not enough people that really have a lot to say and are doing things in the world that are different have enough ways to tell their story. Yeah. I mean, we can all fucking learn about the history of Starbucks all we want, I don't fucking care about that shit, I don't.
Really,
It's cool to sit down here and chop it up, so thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it. Of course, thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate you, Pete.
Good shit.
Yes, sir.
All right, it's a wrap.
Love that.